Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Global Ed Student Chat for February of 2020. We are so excited to have you here. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. This is the Global Educational Student Chat, a student-led Twitter chat that connects K-12 students around the world to discuss topics and questions related to character education, social justice, and citizenship. Global Ed Student Chat creates opportunities for students to network with others, gain perspective, build relationships with new learning partners in a literacy-rich learning environment. They experience social media as a powerful platform for learning and establish a positive digital footprint. So thank you for joining us. And we have some students all the way from Colombia joining us, as well as our student team and some students from Lakeshore High School in New York. All right. Oh, Sam is also joining us. So I'm going to let Darcy take it away with our Tech Talk this morning.
Sure. So if you're watching us on YouTube, you will notice that there is a comment space to your right. This is a great way for you to share your own thoughts and ideas and to add your thinking and get involved in the conversation. If you have Twitter, follow the hashtag #GlobalEdSSChat to read the ideas, thoughts, and questions shared by others. Use #GlobalEdSSChat to add your thinking and get involved in the conversation. And feel free to share your name and where in the world you are joining from us for today. If you ask questions, we will bring them to panel. Please remember that the audience for this chat is K-12, so your comments and questions should be appropriate for all ages.
Thank you so much, Darcy. And before we start to introduce our student panelists, we have Anahit, who will introduce our expert on panel today. Mr. Welcome.
I'm happy to introduce our expert on panel today, Mr. Adam Welcome. Adam has been a teacher, principal, director of innovation, and a 3-time author that travels all over North America, speaking and working with educators. He's also a runner and has ran 30 marathons.
Which is amazing.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. Sorry, I know it's kind of cold in Canada, and it's 70 degrees right now in California, but that's just the way it goes. So, but thanks for having me. I'm on Twitter too, kind of going back and forth. So super excited for the conversation today, and I love having students running and being a part of this. Let's go.
Awesome. So why don't we start with you, Anahit? Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, so my name is Anahi, and I'm really excited to be here. This is my first time. I enjoy reading a lot and meeting new people all around the world. I have friends in almost every continent, and I love hearing about other people's perspectives. So I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation.
And I'm excited that she's at my school, so that's pretty cool. Thank you. Eduardo and Sebastian, can you introduce yourselves, please, and where you're from?
Hello, my name is Eduardo. Me and Sebastian come from
We go from Colombia.
We are from Colombia. We come from the Marymount School here in Barranquilla. And we're really excited to be here in this global chat with you.
Yes, first time.
First time as well.
And we are excited to have you. That's amazing. Darcy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Darcy. I'm in grade 9, and I attend GDCI, which is in the AMDSB School Board in Ontario. And this is my second year with the chat.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do, Darcy. Do we have our students from Lakeshore High School here yet?
They're not here yet, but JC and Nate are going to be joining in from Lakeshore High School. They're just switching classes now, and they'll be on their way down shortly. And this will be their first time participating in a Global Ed Student Chat on panel.
Wonderful. And then we have another one of our student leads, Sam, who is, unfortunately, his face isn't there, but we will be able to hear him. So, Sam?
Hi, everybody. This is my 3rd year on the chat. I'm in grade 9, going to LDSS in Listowel.
And Sam, if you wouldn't mind taking us through the norms while you're at it, that would be awesome.
Sure. So we will have 20 minutes to discuss 3 questions. Please be mindful that the chat is open to students from kindergarten to grade 12. We ask that from active participation from classes who are watching, all comments made in the chat should be positive and productive, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. You may not agree with something someone has said, but we ask when challenging an idea, you respectfully disagree with the idea, not the individual person.
Thank you, Sam. And those norms, for those of you who have never joined us before, were created by students, and we iterate them at the beginning of every chat because it's very important when we have students joining us from all over the world that we learn how to respond to one another online. So thank you again, Sam. And Darcy, why don't you take us to the very first question? So those of you on Twitter or YouTube, please follow along with the questions, answer, and we will bring your comments into the chat.
Our first question for today is, what qualities do you look for in a healthy relationship?
Go ahead.
So I think when building relationships with people, it is really important to first look for certain qualities, and some of those qualities are making sure that that person that you're building a relationship is going to be influencing you in a positive way. I think a lot of the time we tend to really gain characteristics and learn from the people we have relationships with, and the more positive people we have relationships with, the better it influences us. And it's very important to communicate with that person properly and know where you and that person kind of set boundaries and how you respect each other. And I think that once you reach a certain place with that person, it can be a great influence on you. Personally, I have learned a lot from my friends. And it's really interesting to have different kinds of friends with different hobbies because you learn something different from each friend.
Yeah, I completely agree with like everything that you said. I thought that was really well said. I feel like all good relationships, there has to be like a fine balance of, like mutual respect. But I also feel like when you're looking for a healthy relationship, you want someone who you're proud to be associated with. You want someone who you're proud to say, this is my best friend, or, this is my significant other. It's someone who you feel as though represents you and the person you are well. I feel like sometimes like a lot of people look for people that have the same interests as them, which isn't like a requirement, but it can help to like initiate like conversation and have things to do. But sometimes it is good to go find people like you were saying that are like from different backgrounds, because it like teaches you about like different people and their perspective, and you learn a lot from like different people. So yeah.
I'm gonna pipe in. I was a teacher for a long time, and then I was a school principal also for 6 years. So dealt with a lot of relationship drama, I would say, when there's different groups and multiple people and personalities. And what I found in talking with kids was the best relationships are when both people in the relationship wanted to be in the relationship. They wanted something from the relationship, because when one person wants more, or when one person wants less, it makes it really hard and really tricky, and you're not always going to be on the same page. That's challenging, but want to be in a relationship with somebody that wants to be in a relationship with you. And a lot of times, and I think this is more true for the older that kids get, sometimes people can try to get something from the other person in the relationship. So really try to build relationships with people that want to be in a relationship with you. And second thing is always try to make new friends. That was always a goal that we had for our students at our school. Don't leave your old friends, but always try to expand that friend group, because it's really important to have people from different walks of life with different interests, not just your friends that play soccer or are in the debate team. Really try to broaden those friendships, because the older you get, people splinter, they go to university, they go to college, and it's really, really important to have a variety and a diverse group of friends.
Thanks so much, Adam, for adding that information. Eduardo and Sebastian, do you have anything to add? I know we've said a lot.
Hello. Well, regarding what I think about a healthy relationship, it maybe is what you're looking forward. Maybe it's a connection. Well, as soon as you meet someone, maybe you know instantly if you have a connection or not with him. And if you feel that you have a connection with that someone, then you might go for it or not. Well, at least in a boyfriend to girlfriend relationship, well, you at least with your friends, you maybe delay a little bit that connection you might feel with them, but at the long run, at the end, you end up finding things you are like that you have in common, or things that you don't share equal thoughts, but you work them and you make your way into a healthy relationship with that other one. Either it'll be a friend or a partner.
And thank you for sharing all of that. And our friends from Lakeshore have just joined in. I have JC and Nate with us here. So they're jumping into a little bit late to the first question, but I don't know if there's time for them to still add to the first question, but if you'd like to add any thoughts.
I don't know if you guys said this already, but I think communication is a big thing in a relationship. Being loyal and trustworthy.
Yeah, like Jay said, being trustworthy, always trusting your partner, and loyalness too.
Thank you. And so with that, thank you for jumping in. We are going to add Sam to the to be able to speak with you. Hold on. Can you do that, Michael?
Yeah, there we go. It's definitely important with relationships to have a strong connection to each other, and it can't be just a one-way thing. It's good to have that connection both ways. Otherwise, it's not really a good relationship in any context. So that's always a good thing to have in your mind, that both of you and your friend, are on the same page, but at the same time, you communicate together well.
Thanks so much, Sam. And I know from Twitter, thank you, Robin, for saying that loyalty is also important, agreeing with Anahit that the relationship should impact you positively. We do have some other comments on Twitter, but we're going to move to the second question right now, if that's okay. Darcy, can you take us to the second question?
Yeah, the second question for today is, how can you peacefully resolve conflicts in a relationship?
Go ahead.
This is where communication comes into play, like in relationships. I think if there's a conflict, you both need to sit down and like hear your partner, your friend out. And if it's your problem, then you can like explain to them nicely, calmly, and both like resolve the conflict.
Yeah, I think you should hear both sides of the story and hear what the other person is dealing with, and then you can like talk it out afterwards.
Go ahead.
So I definitely agree. Another thing about resolving conflict is that you have to understand that everyone has a different perspective on life and everyone thinks differently. So you have to be very respectful and be open-minded to what the person you're in a relationship is telling you, your friends, your parents, your teachers. You really need to be open-minded about those things, because even though you may not agree with their ideas, you can choose to respect them.
Everybody here is like super on point. And one thing I'm going to add is sometimes having a moderator is really important, and not just when you're a student, but when you're an adult too. So having somebody that is not partial to the conversation, they can know some details and the ins and outs, but they can really hear everybody's story, and they are not going to be emotional about the conversation, because if we're all here having a conversation and we're having problems, we're going to be emotional because we feel a certain way. And like, my feelings were hurt, and I can't believe you did that. And I can't believe you did that thing on TikTok or Snapchat. It really hurt my feelings. But somebody else can listen and say, oh, Darcy, Eduardo, Sebastian, Anahit, I hear you feeling like this. I feel you this. Adam, this is your part. And put everything on the table. And then once everything's on the table and you have that moderator, you can start to kind of chip away at those feelings that are making us feel all frustrated. So communication is number one. You can't even get to the table if you're not communicating. But really, sometimes don't forget about having that moderator to come in to try to help move things forward.
I think the important thing is to learn how to hear others in order to have a good relationship and understand what problems the other people have, in order to really communicate, as you said before, and hear others is extremely important, because by hearing we make sure that we understand what other people want to say.
At the end of the day, I think that the problem solves itself alone if both people want to keep their hands in the relationship. If one of them at the end of the day wants to leave, well, no matter if they peacefully resolve it, the relationship is going to break.
I'm also going to bring in a comment here from YouTube. We have Linda from Toronto also adding in that trust and feeling safe are important. Now, there we go. Thank you. I see that one popping up right there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that's been said. I feel like communication is definitely like the number one thing, and going in with like an open mind. I think it's really important, when you're having those conversations, is to own up to your mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and sometimes it's just important to face them head on instead of ignoring them. Because when you recognize the mistakes you've made, then you can create more honest and truthful and what will end up being more productive plans for the future of how you're going to act. And it will increase the odds that you aren't going to be fighting as much. Also, I feel like kind of like what I feel like and he was saying was just, there's never really like the correct person, I guess, in an argument, because everyone has like different perspectives and walks of life, and everyone has what they believe to be their truth. So I feel like it's definitely important to understand their perspective and see where they're coming from.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about talking through it. You have to talk through it with your friends. You have to make sure that you don't get angry while you're trying to resolve conflicts, because that just makes it worse. And you just have to talk through it and work things out. Or sometimes it helps bringing somebody else in as well to help figure things out. And if that doesn't work, maybe you take a break and come back to it.
So I think Anahit and Jennifer lost their connection in Ontario. So does somebody else want to ask the third question? If you don't have it, I have it.
I can ask the third question.
Awesome. Thanks, Darcy.
So the third question is, how do your relationships with others change your perspective? And what value do those relationships add to your daily life?
Thanks, Darcy. Who wants to go?
We can go.
Go.
Okay, so, well, at least with my friends, I have like a different relationship with my partner, but my partner also makes part of my group of friends. So that makes it like a little bit complicated to balance maybe myself with my friends and myself with my partner, and the time we spend together, my partner and my friends, like as a whole, as a wholesome. So maybe sometimes I have to like go out with my friends alone, and sometimes I need to go alone with my partner alone. And like that times it's complicated is when my partner and I and my friends and her friends and everyone joins like in the same group and goes out like in a whole, and that is kind of weird sometimes, but you figure it out at the end of the day.
How is it weird? Can you give an example of like what makes it weird, or do we make it weird? Like, do humans make it weird?
Like humans make it weird, but is that like their group and maybe my group of friends, the group of friends of my partner and my group of friends, like don't get along as well as with each other. So it's like water and oil, more or less. Like they don't combine, and it's like a different solution.
I mean, when I think about this, I'll just pipe in real fast before we hear from everybody else. It's people go into those situations, and it's the same for adults too. And when people go into those situations, I think it's when we have ego and we're thinking about ourselves and we're not maybe thinking about the entire group. That's when there can be friction with it. But if you just go in and you are comfortable with who you are and you know who you are, I don't think there's going to be as much friction.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
I don't
Well,
know.
I have to leave now because the bell just rang and I have to get to class. But it was a pleasure meeting all of you.
Thank you.
Adios, muchas gracias.
Take care.
Do you wanna add?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So for us, I think me and Nate were really good friends, and our friend group were super close. And I think since we all have such a good relationship, it makes me excited to it gives me something to look forward to on the weekends. It's another thing to look forward to coming to school, seeing them every day. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always there for us. We can always count on them. And if we have any problems, we can always just talk them out with each other.
It's awesome to know we have people, and there's so many of us, so it's just awesome to know.
Yeah.
And then to go to this question, the perspective piece, right? How does it maybe change your perspective on things from spending so much time with these people and getting to know them, Anyone wants to speak to the perspective?
I think for me, being friends with different types of people, not just people that were like me, have opened up kind of my options and my perspectives of life, because you don't necessarily think the way your friends do, and having those conversations with them definitely expand your horizon of what you can see, because you can look at the same thing different ways, and it's really interesting to see what those different perspectives are.
Yes. So, and along the same lines, I'm just going to add Eileen, who is joining us from Kuwait. Thank you, Eileen. Offering that different perspectives mean we have to be open to listening to others' opinions, and how life-changing that could be, and how we learn about other cultures when we have different perspectives.
I think it also does open up opportunity for anyone that is willing to listen to others, because if you just stay within a closed group, you're not exposed to what there is in the world, what opportunities there are around you. And I think that's really important to recognize early on. And now with the age of technology, we do have the power to use it positively and educate ourselves in different ways.
Go ahead, Sam. You have something from Twitter you want to bring in?
So yeah, there's one thing from Twitter from Robin again. When you share your perspective, someone else's opinion can change on certain topics. When you share options, it's also informing other people about what you believe in.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate your perspective and your sharing on Twitter.
And for me, I also have a partner. And it changes your perspective because then you get into their friend group too, and you see the world and the school from their perspective, along with your perspective and her perspective and your friend group's perspective. So you've got all of these different perspectives where you can see your school and how other people see the world in different ways. And that's something that I've always found interesting, is everybody has their own perspective, but it's also, you can always see what's different, right?
Yeah, I think that's a really like moving like idea. Just like I feel like my relationships with others help educate me as well about diversity and how to manage people and potential conflicts. It shows me that everyone may have different likes and interests or different beliefs and come from a different background, but we can still come together and enjoy each other's company and, of course, learn something from those people. Being able to manage people in conflict is a skill that you will have to use for the rest of your life. And I think being able to have relationships with a variety of people and a variety of types of relationships, whether they be positive or negative, or student teachers, you parent, it teaches you those skills. Relationships can add a lot of value to your life, you know, just like family and friends help a lot of people when they're sad or in a hard place. But they can also do the opposite sometimes. And, you know, relationships is, in my opinion, what makes life so fun and enjoyable. So I think they're very valuable.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You can't see me, but I'm definitely putting thumbs up too.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. There's a lot of conversation happening on the YouTube chat. Thanks to those who have shared on Twitter. Thank you especially to our new guests from Barranquilla, Colombia. They asked that I make sure that I say that correctly. Sebastian and Eduardo from Lakeshore High School. Here we have JC and Nate. Thank you very much for joining. From Ontario, our incredible student team, Darcy, Anahit, and Sam, and our awesome expert, Adam Welcome, joining in from sunny California today. So thank you so much for your insight and perspective. We hope to keep the conversation going by answering slow chat questions the rest of the month. Be sure to use the Global Ed SS Chat hashtag on Twitter so that we can continue to interact with you. And give us a follow on social media at Global Ed SS Chat, or visit our website at globaledSSchat.com. You can connect with Adam on Twitter at Mr. Adam Welcome. Watch out for next month's chat details that will launch on the first of the month on our Global Ed Student Chat website. The next chat is going to take place on March 10th, and it will be all about self-awareness and identity. Please note we are currently recruiting members for our student leadership team and our social media ambassador program. Feel free to DM the Global Ed Student Chat on Twitter if you are interested. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us. We hope you'll add your voice on the slow chat. There's more questions, more conversation to be had. So I wish everyone a wonderful week and month of February ahead.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.